Well, hello friends, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Holly with the Nestle Valley Farmhouse, and today we're going to do a little talk about spring seasonal eating, I guess. We are still in spring. I know it's starting to feel more like summer over here, which is super exciting. But I wanted to kind of walk you through the process, talk about what kind of the way I'm trying to structure my year. I really have been enjoying kind of embracing the seasons of the year. And of course, spring is a much busier season than I thought it was going to be this year, if I'm being honest. And I kind of feel like I just kind of want to talk about it a little bit, walk you through. Right now, I got a chicken breast out. I'm putting some ranch seasoning on it, and I'm putting it in the crock pot on high for 4 hours. And it's going to actually be part of my meal prep for my lunch. So I meal prepped some chicken breast. I had some in the freezer, like some old, a package of like mashed cauliflower, like basically cauliflower mashed potatoes. And so I'm going to have that with some green beans. And I was able to meal prep myself a couple meals because I'm trying to, like I said, trying to be better, eating healthier. And I feel like meal prepping has been a huge thing for me. If that's something that you guys want me to talk about a little bit, I am more than willing to. It's just obviously not the focus of my channel. And I know there's so many other people that talk about it. I don't want to be like, I guess, lost in the crowd, so to speak. So springtime comes with lots of chickens laying eggs. Our chickens have been doing, it's so funny because I don't know if I explained the whole situation, but basically over winter, our chickens basically stopped laying eggs. We couldn't find the eggs. It was like, I think we'd find maybe 1 or 2 eggs a day, and I had like 24 chickens. So I knew that something was up, right? Well, we ended up, after the barn collapse fiasco and I guess it's been a few weeks now, but we ended up looking, and there was like an old coop that we had been given that was actually kind of in like a burn pile that we're just going to get rid of. It was just wood for burning. And we found, like, I'm not even joking, like 50 some odd eggs in this little coop thing. So it's not that they weren't laying eggs, it's just that they were hiding them. And because the way the barn collapsed, we could not see or get to that area until after we picked it up. So we've actually moved the chickens to a different spot and got them, and basically and they're doing a lot better. They have fresh grass pretty much every week, and they lay eggs like gangbusters. So I wanted to talk a little bit. We actually processed our chickens this last weekend. Today is Tuesday, and we have processed our chickens the previous Saturday, and actually they've been sitting in coolers just outside. Luckily enough, it hasn't been too crazy hot, but they've been sitting in the coolers for it's 3 days that you want them to sit to kind of get the rigor mortis out, I guess. That's what our awesome homesteading neighbors that taught us how to do the chickens told us. And I feel like for us, it's worked out really well. Like, you don't want to cook them right after you process them, because I guess they can be really, really tough meat. So first things first, trying to get all my morning chores done, but we ended up with like 51 birds. I think I counted, 51 to 52 birds. And we're actually going to give a few away we had actually some friends of a friend's that came over and learned how to process chickens with us. So we gave them a few chickens because I'll be honest, like, my freezer can't fit anymore. So this was actually the most chickens that we've ever processed. Our first year we did 20. This year I think we bought 60, and we ended up with 52 by the end of it. So I'm really excited. It's kind of funny. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm noticing more and more people as the years have gone on. This is our 4th year doing this. This is our 2nd year doing it just 100% like on our own. Our first 2 years, our awesome neighbor actually helped us out. The first time we paid them just to process them, and we just kind of came and watched the process. Then the 2nd year, we had them like literally teach us. And then the 3rd year, we did it all on our own, which was really fun and exciting. But I find it funny that each year that I talk to people, we're processing chickens. And most people used to be like, you're doing what? Like, just kind of like feels like it's kind of a weird thing, I guess. But this year, I think I've mentioned it to like 2 other people, and they both were like, oh, that's really cool. I'd want to know. And actually what happened is our in-laws, and we met their new neighbors who moved into the house. I think it was after my in-laws moved in, but Anyway, long story short, they ended up asking us to teach them how to do it because they're curious about doing it themselves. So we, of course, agreed. And like I said, they're the ones that we're going to be giving chickens to because they did a great job. They were very helpful. And it's so funny because they seem to like I've said it before, as terrible as it sounds, I almost feel like empowered that I can do this really cool thing that not many people can do, and I can take care of my family. That's something that I love. And knowing that these chickens had a good life, they got all the grass they wanted and everything, it was really nice. So I'm starting out with I ended up not getting enough freezer bags, but I ended up doing, I think it was like 15 chickens. And what I do is I will cut off the leg quarters, what I'm currently doing right now. Because one of the main staples that we use chicken for is in like casseroles, soups and stuff like that. And this is just, to me, the easiest way to do it is you cut off, basically you can, basically right at that joint there, you can kind of cut the leg and the thighs, and then you put it in, and then we just freeze it that way. And then I can throw it in a, soup pot or whatever, put a little, cover it, make sure it's covered with water, and then you just boil it for 20 minutes if it's thawed. If it's not thawed, I can boil it for like 25 plus minutes and it will generally cook through. And that's what, like growing up, that's because my parents the cheaper cuts of meat were the leg quarters. So that's kind of what I'm used to doing. So I really like getting all that done. So these scissors are like super awesome scissors. We got them, they're for like, processing animals or whatever. They're super, super sharp. So I was so nervous. Like every time I use them, I get so nervous because they do cut through bone. But I use them to kind of cut through the rib cage of the bird, and then it gets the breast separated from the rest of the bird. And the rest of the bird is what I will throw into a freezer bag, and it becomes, and I also rip off the skin off of the chicken breast. So I get not boneless, but I get skinless chicken breasts, and I put that in its separate bag because those I can easily cut them up for, like grilled chicken and other things, but I also will sometimes throw them in the crock pot and do the same thing I do with the leg quarters. And then this is just the rest of it. So we leave the wings on and kind of the spine and the rest of the bird. And that is what I throw in my crock pot for chicken stock. It works out really well for me. I put it in the crock pot overnight. So basically it's about 12 hours on low, and I've just thrown it in with some seasonings. You can throw it in with some whatchamacallums, with some vegetables and whatnot, and it generally turns out really good broth. So that's how I do it. And so I'm just going to go through and process a bunch of these chickens. Like I said, I had 51 chickens. I did 48, and I think I ended up processing about, I think it was like 15 that I kind of parted up, and then the rest I left whole. Which I really like cooking a whole chicken, like normally on Sunday or Monday, cook a whole chicken, and then you can use that meat for like the rest of the week, which is really, really nice. So here they are kind of divided up. I also used a blue marker so that I could tell the different years, because last year's I used a red marker. So this was actually the rooster that turned mean, and so he turned into chicken dinner, and I'm just creating some broth. All right, so just a quick update on my freezer. This is all of the chickens except for, this is a fridge here, and we have 6 in here that we're going to put away. So I ended up with 51 chickens. So anyway, so I ran out of bags, so I ended up having more frozen chickens than I had, whole chickens, than I had broken up ones. But these are from last year, so I have about 5, like basically quarters are a chicken breast, there's another chicken breast, and then a whole chicken from last year. But then the rest, and what I did to kind of make it easier, because I have a chest freezer for the chicken. It is a small freezer, but that's kind of what we have, because that's the beef and kind of miscellaneous. This is going to be like for chicken. So this is our whole year's worth of chicken for our family. So we ended up with 51 chickens. We're giving away like 6 of them. No, we ended up with more than that, but we're keeping about 48 and we're giving away 6 of them, whatever it was, I calculated out. And so what I did is I actually layered it. So on the bottom layer, I put like quarters. So I put like legs, breasts, chicken stock, and then I put whole chickens on it, legs, breasts, chicken stocks, and whole chickens. And then kind of the top got a little mixed up because I have more whole chickens, but that is what I'm doing. And this is just kind of thrown haphazardly in here so that it fits. So I have some stock chickens there, but as you can see, I have red from last year, so I'm gonna use up all the red ink ones and then work on and I know this is a whole chicken from last year because it's in the little basket. And then underneath here I have my hearts and livers that I'm gonna try to figure out what to do with. And yeah, so that is my chicken stash for this year. So I'm going to, our garage is such a mess, but I'm going to do a some more lard today. So I had some some leftover frozen lard from, it's getting old, it needs to get used up. So I'm actually going to take out my crock pot chicken. I'm going to cut up some of this lard and put it in the crock pot for, I think it's 2 hours on high, and it melts down a bunch of stuff, and then you sift it through cheesecloth in a funnel, which I have, or like a canning funnel, and cheesecloth, and then it kind of gets and then strains out and then cools it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to probably cut up as much as I can and then just discard the rest because I don't have time to do any more. I am kind of finishing up, and that's kind of what I'm doing for kind of getting set up for the rest of, like, we're done with chicken for the year, and basically we'll be getting our beef this fall, and that's kind of how we do it. And that we do it that way too, so we can afford it, because in the end it cost us about $550 for all the chicken, so it's roughly $10 a chicken, which is not, like, it's not an amazing deal, but it's still better for like the quality of chicken you're getting. And then we are going to do a third of a cow this year, and that's like $1,300, so we're kind of, that way we can save up for it. So anyway, I'm gonna get working on the lard and probably grab some lunch while I'm at it. So I wasn't planning on making or rendering lard, but this is pork fat that I've had in my freezer for a while, and since the new, basically since the new chicken is in there now, I did not have enough room, so I just did as much as I could do, but I was getting like really tired by this time, you guys. I mean, I've been standing at my kitchen counter like cutting up so many chickens, so I just did as much as I could handle, and I rendered some lard, which turned out really good, and I'll kind of show you through the process. What I do is I cut it up, I put it in my crock pot on high, and then you can see it right. So you can see right there, I turned it on I left it on for 4 hours. I ended up cooking it for like an hour and for 3 hours. And then I actually used a potato masher to kind of mash down the fat a little bit, and it helped break it up. So I'm taking a quick break and doing some diapers. And yeah, so basically how we do like spring, like this spring and seasonal, we will eat more chicken than we do beef, but I do make it a point, and I'm going to be a little bit more, probably in my June menu, I'm going to be a little bit more, ambitious trying to get through, because the goal is to try to get as much of our meat used up. We still have a decent amount of elk meat left over, which is amazing, and basically just get as much meat as we can used up by basically by September. So our new cow should be ready by the end of September, October time. So basically I'm going to go through and do an inventory. But the thing is, we ended up with 48 chickens. I normally cook chicken at least once or twice a week. And so if I calculate that out, it will probably be sometime next spring that I will be running out of chicken. As you could see, we did our chickens last year. I think we got like 46 last year, and it was September that I processed those. It was like right after Labor Day. I remember that because it was like kind of stressful trying to figure out when to do it. And we actually waited 9 weeks to process them versus 8. I think they're better 8 weeks, because once they start hitting 9 weeks, they tend to put on more fat, and you don't really want a lot of that unhealthy fat. But the way we do it in an ideal year, I've mentioned this before, but just working with the seasons. I think next year I'm going to try to get the chicks a little bit sooner. We had some hiccups getting them this year because they were just selling out. So I think that basically the goal is to do chickens in the spring. And then right now we are still ordering a quarter cow. And then we also, my husband and his friends hunt in the fall. And so that becomes kind of our fall winter meals. And so that's kind of how we do it. It also helps kind of financially, because we spend, you know, the money for the chickens in the spring, and then we have time to save up for the money of the chickens, or for the money for the beef in the fall. So my chicken is cooking really good. Got the broth going there. And as you can see, this is the kind of when it was done. I could have made it cook a little bit longer, but I was short on time, so I was just trying to get it done. And so basically, as you can see, I have cheesecloth, and I put a ponytail holder to hold it on, and I just pour it through, and it just basically catches all the solids And then it will be kind of like a yellow color, and then as it cools, it turns white. So it was a very busy day, but I feel very productive. We got a lot done, and I'm so happy to have food for my family, at least chicken for the year. So I'm exhausted, but thank you guys so much for coming along with me, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.